The title of the email is show topic.
No dice. You want to forward it to me real quick?
Yeah. There we go. Okay, stream's good. I'm just gonna read it out loud. We'll just do that. Okay.
Okay. You send it to me too? If not, it's fine. I don't care.
I'm just gonna read it out loud. It'll be fine.
Alright.
Here, I guess I'll forward it.
So I'm actually just copying the body of it into the chat.
It's weird. I get like all the notifications when Lola has anything happen with Patreon, but for some reason I don't have this email.
I don't know. I think I just forwarded it to you. Did you get it?
Yeah. Bam.
I forgot what the exact wording is, but whatever he said he didn't want us to do, I'm going to do exactly that.
All right. Well, good, because here we go.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, cool. Well, fuck that guy.
All right, here we go. Zencaster's recording. All right, everybody got squiggles before I do this?
Squiggles.
Oh shit.
John Malkovich is ready.
I'm
gonna shave my head live on stream.
I got squigs. I'm
All right.
squiggly as fuck.
Hey, Twitch chat, did you know that Bird Box is a dog shit movie?
All right, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the save it for the podcast, Chief.
Do we really need to save that for the podcast? I feel like nobody.
Yeah,
wants
no,
to
we
hear me
definitely
talk
want
about
to. We
Bird
definitely
Box.
want to talk about that. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to League of Legends Anonymous, episode 219. I'm your host, Wise Papa Smurf. I'm here with my good buddy Brad. What's up, Brad?
We back, baby. What's happening?
Brad, been gone so long, coming back. People don't even know who you are. Why don't you reintroduce yourself, since apparently none of the newbies know.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brad. Hey guys, I don't know. I've been on the show a bunch. Just took a little hiatus because sometimes you gotta, hit that reset button.
We wanted to try making the podcast good for a little while, so we asked him to step down for a little bit.
And then weirdly,
Kind of like how they
come back.
It's kind of like how they rotate exhibits at the zoo.
That's
Yeah.
that's what this is.
And then everyone was like, "Where are the fucking bears?" And you were like, okay, Brad, come on, the people want it."
We got to bring
do
back
this
the
thing.
cuddly baby taper. And then Brad came back onto the show. So,
what would each of us be as animals? I think this is.
I don't know. Good question. Let's answer the question for each other. What would Michael be? I'm going to say Slimer from Ghostbusters.
It's not an animal, retard.
It's
It
your
is
hair,
funny.
though. It was Egon.
There
Now
are
it's gone
animals
full
that have-
Slimer.
There's an entire class of animals that are covered in fur, and the best you can come up with is fucking Slimer from goddamn Ghostbusters, which is not an animal or a reference that anyone.
It's a
even-
ghost. And, some people think ghosts are real. And if they're not people, then they're animals.
I
What the
wish I
fuck
had
are
some
plants then? What is anything else that exists then?
Yeah, good point on the plants thing. I really didn't think this thing through. I was really just trying
What
to
am-
justify the existence of ghosts so I could refer to you as Slimer, the borderline retarded green slimy thing from a childhood
Loves hot
cartoon
dogs.
of mine.
Just loves hot dogs.
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh my god. That's fucking retarded.
Okay, so Brad, what creature do you think Michael would be if we were at the zoo?
I kind of wish I would have had some time to prep about this. Is there a creature at the zoo that when you see it, you think the first thing it would say to you is, "Well, actually," whatever that animal is.
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked because there is.
Yeah, what's like a it's kind of cool, but in a pretentious way. Like you,
Like an owl or something?
yeah.
My hair kind of has the same, like, texture and consistency as owl feathers.
You're
So
like the owl from the Tootsie Pops commercials.
And you can rotate your head all the
Fuck
way
no.
around. Also, like a ghost. Because ghosts can do that.
Blake, is a ghost
So,
an animal? Is a
Apparently,
ghost an
all
animal?
owls are ghosts. I just proved it.
I
Okay.
guess theoretically, a ghost would have been an animal prior to becoming a ghost, right? Because they're born of sentient creatures.
Yeah, that's fair. So, Brad, what animal? Michael, what animal you got for
What
Brad?
animal? I'm gonna Google animals that kind of look like they want to kick the shit out of me. All right,
I was gonna say smart
George
ass.
Carlin is like the first result, so I don't know what that means.
So what I was gonna say, I'll go ahead while you're doing your research. I'll go ahead and answer. I think Brad would be like Yogi Bear if he were like a lot more of a smartass. Like,
All right.
like less of a good-natured I'm hungry bear, and more of like a insult comic bear. Like if it's Triumph the insult comic dog mixed with like Yogi Bear.
Like I would like steal people's picnic baskets and then roast them for the shit
Okay.
that they packed for lunch.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me screen share so I can show you guys. It's called a sun bear. This is definitely what it would be. Okay. This is Brad, 100% right here.
What is that creature?
That's a sun
Can
bear.
you
That's
zoom
it.
in on that? A sun bear?
Yeah, there he is. That's
It
Brad.
looks like
this is gonna
that-
be great whenever people listen to this.
Yeah,
It's
no,
gonna be perfect.
for the listeners, it looks like that weird Asian guard dog that has the wrinkly face.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it has a brain on the outside of its skull.
It looks like that villain from like it looks like Krang from Ninja Turtles if they spilled
one.
mutagen on a bear and they touched.
And also weirdly like me.
It needs to have a
Good work,
hat
Michael.
on. So, okay, cool. Now, last but not least, animal me.
Where the fuck do we even begin with this? Idiot?
Blake would be a gorilla that jerks off in front of children.
And also apparently like says fuck in front of them enough to where they pick it up.
Well, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
really funny to him, but everyone else is like, dude, what are you doing in front of kids?
Oh my
Okay.
god, cover your eyes, Timmy.
Okay, so side note, I told Michael this story, but now he's referenced it, so I have to say it out loud on the podcast. Max was playing on his Switch over on the couch, and Kelsey and I were downstairs, and he goes, "Aah!" Like he's really frustrated, right? And then he goes, "Fuck this fucking ball! This is a piece of fucking shit!" And I'm like, "Whoa!" And Kelsey just looks at me immediately, and I'm like, shit. Like, this is going to be my fault. I already know this is going to be my fault. And she's like, Max, you do not blah, blah, you do not say that word. And she's like, what word were you saying? And he's like, fucking. Like, oh, no.
That's what it meant.
That was super clear. So, you know, we got on to him or whatever, and he hasn't done it in a while anyway. But, you know, she's like, where did you hear that? And I was waiting for him to go, Dad! Like, all the time. And he was like, I heard it at daycare or something. I was like, yes!
That's
Like,
the homie.
Not me. Good boy,
Listen,
Max.
Mom's gonna punish you, but we're going out for ice cream.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Do we answer what animal besides a gorilla?
Yeah, no, I got a gorilla that jerks off in front of children.
That
That was the first answer. So I'm held in high regard.
You do kind of just generally look pleased with yourself all the time, Blake.
That's true, though. I am pleased with myself all the time. So
Oh,
what?
Michael,
what
what do
would
you
that
got?
be?
I don't know. Maybe the lemur from Zaboomafoo. Did you guys ever watch that?
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking
wait.
about.
Is that the like children's after school show?
Yes, that one.
Hold on.
You look kind of like a
Zaboomafoo?
lemur from Zaboomafoo.
The
But, like-
puppet one? He looks like a puppet?
No, well, there was a real lemur.
I just looked up whatever the hell he's talking about. It's not a real lemur.
But there
That
is
is
a real
absolutely
lemur.
okay.
No, it's a puppet, but there's also a real lemur, you dumbass. There's a real lemur.
Okay,
and a
that
puppet.
is not a real lemur.
I know, but at the end of every episode, there was a real
That
lemur.
is by far the most
There was a real.
stuffed looking
Watch
wooden
any
piece
episode
of
of
shit.
Zaboomafoo. There's a real lemur in it. I'm not fucking making this up.
Okay,
There's a
first
real
off,
lemur.
let's back up a second. I've never even heard of this before, but my first impression of this show is that those guys are fucking that lemur. Look at the picture.
It's not a real lemur, so who cares?
And
In
the
front of
lemur
children.
looks like he's in the process of getting molested in that picture.
There was a real lemur at the end of the episodes, okay?
And
Not
that real
making this
lemur
up.
had to quit due to a hashtag Me Too incident? And they
God,
replaced
I
it
can't-
with that?
I can't believe you knew this show. It ended in 2001. You were like a year old.
Yeah, Zaboomafoo is my jam. I like Zaboomafoo.
What the hell is that? I have literally
It's a show
never
about
heard of
animals.
this.
What do you want from me?
I've literally never heard of this
That
ever.
was such a deep cut. I like that.
Anyway, I'm glad that we've gone.
Hey, we got.
So Blake's some sort of primate. I'm a bear, and Ponderous is a ghost.
An
So
owl.
no, here's the thing. I'm a
owl.
primate that either molests in front of children or gets molested by two adults on
Hold on.
public TV. Apparently.
Hold on. Touching yourself inappropriately when you're in your home is
Yeah.
just because
When
children
else
are
are you gonna
watching.
do it?
You
If you don't want to
molest in
see a
front of
gorilla
children.
jack
You got
off,
that
stay
very
home.
wrong.
You know, if you don't want to see a gorilla jack off, just stay home.
Don't come over.
Yeah, don't come over. What else do I got to do in here? It's
You
an
paid to be
enclosure.
here. You paid to be here.
Yeah, I didn't buy a ticket to this.
Oh my god.
Zaboomafoo. This looks like the dumbest thing of all time. Oh my god, there were like mini seasons? Get out of
Zaboomafoo
here.
was the jam. Double Sniff, quit talking shit in the chat.
Martin
Alright,
and Chris
We're talking about
Pratt.
molesting lemurs. Get
Okay.
out of here. I don't even know what your comment means.
Hey, Michael, the
He's talking
lemur
about who
from
has sexual
Zaboomafoo
dominance in
is dead.
Zaboomafoo.
By the
Oh,
way.
that makes sense. I was not holding
Yeah.
my breath on that one. It was 18 years ago that the show was on the air.
It died of kidney failure in 2014.
Well, I made it farther than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I told you there was a real lemur. The fucking puppet didn't die of kidney
I-
failure.
I would have thought that the lemur would have died of rectal trauma much earlier.
Can we,
Okay.
He's lost the will
is this a
to
League of
live.
Legends podcast?
Yeah, no, it is soon. It is soon.
It's
So,
soon. TM.
so let's go
Hey,
to the
speaking
mailbag.
of, Cat in the Hat for PS2, am I right?
No,
What a
you're
great
not.
topic of discussion.
You're not. Though we have actually gotten so much traction out of that bullshit. Do you realize how many emails we've got about people like referencing Cat in the Hat, the video game? Like,
Really?
a substantial amount.
A non-zero number? Are you
It's
kidding?
more than 5.
That's so many. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
I don't
You're all
know.
idiots.
I don't know.
The fact
So-
that you think that's funny makes you just as dumb as me. Oh god.
You are now
That's funny.
culpable with him. So anyway, here we are. We have a write-in email for the show, and I think this is probably a good topic, is particularly since we have Brad here, and particularly since he fell into this exact same trap. I thought this would be a good thing. Guten Abend. Show topic: how would you convince me or anyone to come back to ranked? I stopped playing any Summoner's Rift 3 or 4 months prior to last season ending. I climbed to gold for the first time, peaked at gold 3. Then I spiraled back to silver and could not win a game to save my life. So I bought a different game and got sucked into Destiny 2 for a while. I don't play that now, but I'm keeping myself busy with other games. I can't bring myself to play ranked as I expect that my teammates will betray me like last season.
Which is just the funniest way of
I-
saying that.
yeah,
by the way. I'm not
that's
trying to like
great.
make fun of you, but like saying that your teammates will betray you is just so dramatic, and I love it.
Yeah, it's
Like
awesome.
I love that way of phrasing it.
Weirdly enough, I still hold on to the sentiment that normals aren't fun because there's no risk and reward. Norms with online friends would be one thing, but everybody changed their summoner names, and now I have no clue. So I thought maybe this would be a cool topic for like a pep talk or something. If it's one of those suck it up, you sack of shit pep
Suck
talks,
it up,
I'd.
you sack of shit, by the way. I said I was going to say it, now I said it, and my contribution is done.
All right. I'd rather pass. I need positive encouragement.
Well, you came to the wrong place, my friend.
God, that when I read this email, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, it's gonna be really hard for me to not just stick on that line the entire time. But we'll give it a shot.
Okay, I haven't played Ling in a long time, so I started ARAMs, and it was so strange playing again. I had no idea where my character was for the longest time. Now I play ARAMs often, but I'm leaning more towards other games because ARAMs aren't doing it for me either. Too
Because
many
they're garbage.
AFKs, one-sided matches, etc. No pressure, ice cream dreams. So, our boy Dreams. What is going on, boys? What do you got to say about this? Brad, I'll let you start because you did this exact thing.
Yeah, so every year I take at least one like month or two long break just because I get not bored with League so much as it's just like it's one game and you're playing one game mode a whole bunch of times. There's a lot of variables and changes, but I just need to switch stuff up personally. So I totally get that. I would question Destiny 2 has been out for about a year. All of your friends changed their names?
No, he was saying in like the several months that he went, like 4 months that he went.
Right.
To be
AFK.
fair, like 4 people on my friends list changed their name with what I presume is RP Christmas points.
Yeah,
So
that Christmas
that does
Skrilla.
happen, but yeah.
All right. Yeah, dude. So one, join the Lola Discord. There's plenty of people in here playing games. You can make new friends to play League with.
He already is.
Very low pressure. Well, that's a good start. I
Gold
get
3
the-
makes you practically the top 1% of our Discord server. No flame, by the way.
I mean, I get not wanting to play ARAMs and playing other games. Like I dig playing other games. Been playing some Call of Duty. It's been a blast. But yeah, dude, League's real cool, and your teammates betray you just as often as everyone else's teammates betray them. So just you know what I say you do? I say you come back and you play only ranked, and you just flame your teammates when they betray you till you get banned. Why not? You know?
So I actually have some like tinged with my I think I trademarked pessimism, but tinged with my trademark pessimism, I can give you some actual optimistic advice because it sounds like your problem is that you took things too like in too short of a time period because like the rule that we always use is the 30-40-30 rule. 30% of your games you'll be unable to lose basically. 30% of your games you'll be unable to win because somebody on the other team is 15-0. And then there's like a 40% chunk in the middle that basically determines how much you're able to climb. Assuming you're in roughly your correct ELO bracket. So what it sounds like is you played for like, but those numbers really only apply to sample sizes of like 100+ games. So like if you play like 30 games, there's a chance that over half of them will be unwinnable. And that's usually what happens when you lose a shit ton of ELO like that. Not to mention it also causes your gameplay to deteriorate. Sometimes you just like get fucked over by matchmaking. Like it's happened to I think all of us before, I'm sure, where we just lose like all of your games despite playing pretty well. And I would say like if you actually want to come back to League, you have to be prepared to play enough games to make it like worth your time to come back. You know what I mean? Like first of all, one of the most important aspects of climbing and like maintaining competitive drive is playing a relatively significant amount of games. Like I'd say at least like if you can manage it like 10 ranked games per week, if you're serious about climbing, like if that's one of your main things that you want to do right now. You can do it on fewer games, but it's just going to be harder, and you're also going to get like if you play less games, there's a higher chance of those games all skewing one way or the other. Like if you
Your
play 10,
variance is way higher.
yeah, exactly. Because like even the likelihood of 5 games being completely screwy versus 10 games being completely screwy is very different. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
and then the other thing I would say, I don't know what your personal, like, I don't know how you are as a player, if you tilt a lot, if you flame a lot, like what your deal is. But the best thing to do, I think, to maintain your mental composure and low elo is to just mute everyone at the beginning of the game.
Well, like, okay, so I do want to talk about
Yeah.
this because, like, you brought up something. I kind of want to explain it with like an analogy, right? So if you play a lot of games, that can only skew negative. Like, you don't play really well, and then you're guaranteed to play really well the next game, and play really well the next game, and play, and so on and so forth. Like, there's no, like, it's like using muscles, right? So like if you go work out and you max out and you lift really well and you work all your muscle groups, right? And then you put the bar away and then you do it again. You may be able to do that weight again. Then you do it a third time. Then you're going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And in that same way, you will skew down over doing a whole bunch of sets, right? League is mental. It's still the same kind of like you're using brain power and focus and energy. And when you come in fresh, you will usually be at a better state than if you played 10 or 15 games in a row.
I should
And
clarify what I said by like playing a lot of games spread out over a consistent time frame. Like when I say 10 games per week, that means average of 1.3 games per day. More so than it means play 5 games on Sunday and 5 games on Saturday and then don't play it all during the weekday. You know?
yeah, yeah. And that's what I wanted to get at. It's like
You're right, you're right.
if you play, and particularly if you take like if you play 10 games and you take a real hard loss in game 3, the odds
Yeah.
that game 4 and 5 are going to be bad is pretty high. And if 4 and 5 are bad, then probably 6 through 10 are not looking great for you.
I believe that I saw data one time that somebody had mined that like basically was about the um how win rate is affected by like consecutive play sessions. You know what I mean? So like I believe that the second game played is the one that people have the highest chance of winning. So your first game, you're warming up, you're getting ready, you're getting into the groove. That's got like a 2% lower win rate for people who play consistently than your second game. And then everything from the second, like the third game is also pretty fine, but then everything from 4 downward is just lower and lower and lower and lower. So like any game you play after 3, you just have a higher chance of losing, basically.
That's interesting. Here's the other thing I would say. If you're looking to like enjoy the game more, do one of two things. And they're exactly the opposite. So this is really weird advice, right? Play something that you feel confident on, that you are stable on, and that you enjoy, right? So like pick your comfort champion and play it to the best of your ability if you enjoy that. Or do the exact fucking opposite and pick something that is new and completely different if you enjoy learning, right? Like if you want to feel like you're accomplishing something and that's more important for you, pick a new champ that you find fun or exciting and play that champion.
Or even a new role.
Or
Like
even a new role or whatever.
your
Like
mid laner play jungle or something.
yeah, like if that's what if that's what floats your boat, then I was gonna say get your rocks off and float your boat at the same time, and I said if that's what wrote, because there's rocks in boat,
So
and
if
that's
that's what
not
gets
even
your
the
boat
first word.
off,
That's what
then
fucks your boat. Then you need to do that, right? So either way, like if you're a guy who's like ADD brain and you just want to do like 100 different things, chase them. Have fun with that. It's really about giving yourself the freedom to just enjoy League again, right?
yeah.
And you're probably not going to do that if you've got your head tied around your rank. And I'm not
Right.
saying like you have to play normals. What I'm saying is you have to not give a shit about your rank.
Real quick, if you do play normals, play normal draft. Don't play blind pick. Blind pick is a shit show. Don't play blind pick.
Well, it's just kind of like ARAMs. I mean,
Yeah, it's like I'm saying if you want to like like if you're like saying you don't like normals because there's nothing on the line, that is true. I get that, but like if you're playing blind pick, then it's exacerbated 10 times worse.
yeah,
Like, at least
but here's what I'm
normals
getting at
back,
is
it feels like you're trying to win.
yeah, but here's what I'm getting at. It's
If
like
you
if
care
you're in
about
a
that.
negative mindset, you probably don't want anything on the line.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
you know what I mean? Like you
Well,
don't need
unless
that
you can get into
additional.
that not giving a shit mode, which
Yeah,
is
unless you can
if you're
get into the like nihilism, I care about nothing, Lebowski.
and if you're
Then
coming back to the game, you're probably gonna lose more games than you did before you stopped playing. So like, be
Yeah,
prepared to lose a bunch of games
just
and like
dick
Blake
around
said,
until the end
try
of
something or
preseason.
get back in the game, with stuff you were playing before, whatever suits you. But
Yeah, we got like what, a week and a half before the end of preseason. Just play some dumb shit until then,
coming back, you have to
or
just
at least
not give
get
a
back
fuck.
into your mode. Yeah,
hmm
like there's a lot
yeah,
of ways you
like
can
give
do that.
yourself the freedom to fail. Like
Yeah,
that's fine. That's the whole point. Is like
that's why
so
you mute everyone because
so I
it
was listening.
exacerbates your failures.
Yeah, oh, mute everyone. That's a good one. That's a good one. So I was listening to this audiobook that Brad's got me on from his Audible account. And it's called Codename Freedom. And it's about this guy who's like doing pretty intense martial arts training inside of a video game to get better at whatever he does. And a large part of that like his mentor's training session is he's talking about like you have to find the thing that motivates you to get better, and you have to be honest about that thing, and you have to focus on it and use it. And a huge part of that is using failure and wanting not to fail, but accepting the possibility in order to move forward.
Well, and failing is like not even a good like way to phrase it because losing a game is not failure. Like to me, failure is like I want to get to diamond before I die and then giving up. Like that to me that's more of what failure in this game means
Yeah.
than just straight up like losing a game because you're playing a champion you're bad at.
Well, to
More
me,
like
it's like going in for a
yeah.
mechanical play and then fucking it up completely.
Yes.
And that would be like
Exactly.
failing, but that's fine if you learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Or at
mean?
least
Like,
build muscle memory.
yeah,
Like, get some
yeah.
benefit out of it.
Like if you see where you fuck that up, say, oh, well, next time I need to blah blah blah. Then you're great, no problem. And so, I mean,
You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
yeah, and just like I said, it's about giving yourself the freedom to enjoy shit, the freedom to fail, and not be so much tied up in the result. Because the result is maddening because you can't always control the result.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what feels bad about League, I think.
And this is sort of unrelated, but also kind of related. But in season 9, I have plans to start streaming again, and I'm gonna be I'm like level 28 on my Smurf that I've been leveling up, and I'm gonna be taking that from bronze or unranked or whatever or iron to diamond, and I'm gonna be showing you how to play competitive League of Legends effectively. I'm not gonna be listening to any music. I'm not gonna be talking to people in voice comms. I mean, that's optional, but I'm not going to be doing with anyone. I'm not going to be muting everyone every single game. Like, if you want to learn how to play League of Legends solo queue in a competitive way that will make you better, that's kind of what the goal of the live streams is going to be. So if you're a kind of guy that just wants to win and that's what you find fun, because I'm kind of the same way, like, I just really want to win more and be better than other people at this game, that's going to be a good, I think, tool for you to look at if that's the sort of thing that makes you enjoy the game. Maybe it's not, but a lot of people who are competitive, I think, will benefit from that.
All right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's something that you should focus on between episodes of Zaboomafoo.
Zaboomafoo in the grave. We miss him.
One
I know
of
you guys just learned about him, but he was part of the Lola family.
So somebody asked me, they're like, "Hey man, what's happening with season 9?" And I said, "Oh man, if only there was a podcast that you could listen to that comes out on a near weekly basis that answers exactly those kind of questions."
I don't know what's happening in season 9.
Yeah, no, that's season 9's hot garbage. But Silas is coming out. So by the way, I think we answered that question, so that I'm transitioning. So Silas is coming out. You guys had any chance to look at Silas?
Nope.
Okay.
Yes, I've watched a couple gameplays. He
Okay.
looks super cool.
So like his deal, just to give you guys an idea, is after every ability he gets a little spinny do auto attack with his chains that does AoE damage. His Q pounds the ground, and there's like a pound damage and then a explosion damage shortly thereafter. The explosion slows. His W is it a dash and a shield? Is that the dash and a shield?
No, the W is the dash. Increased damage based on missing health. Increased heal based on your own missing health.
Oh, right. And then his E is like Riven's dash, but then, oh no, that one's like Riven's dash. The E is the one that if you dash and dash again, you
The
like stun them.
the E is like the first half of um, Echo E, followed by an Amumu Q.
Right.
So you do a small dash in whatever direction you want, and then the reactivation shoots out chains, and if you hit them, you jump to them, and they're briefly stunned.
Yep. So like basically what I'm seeing here is really good AoE 2v2 potential, a slow, a stun, shield, a heal, like all sorts of stuff that you could use to be a pretty damn good support. And his ult, by the way, steals ults. So there's
Which
that.
is dumb.
And yeah, while it looks like a skill shot, word on the street is that that's a point and click. So you can't miss
The E?
the ult.
Master E is
Ult
actually going to be
steal.
a Silas counter because if you steal his ult, you get the worst ult in the game.
You actually move
Actually,
slower.
20% movement speed bonus. Woohoo!
What if the entire other team was shape changers or stance stances?
Oh,
So you
yeah,
had,
okay,
like,
so they talked about
Billy,
that. You
Jace,
get their spider form and all of their spider form abilities.
one time.
Not sure. Not sure how that
Okay,
plays out. I
can
mean,
we
there's a
just
ton of champions that have weird ults that it would be kind of
Yeah, like
impossible, like
Heimerdinger.
Callista. No, Heimerdinger gets a one cast. It's just like Karma. They get a one cast of one of their ultimate empowered abilities. So, like with Karma, you could steal, and then you would cast like W and it'd do a life tether, or you'd do a Q and then it would do the Q with the boom circle, or you
okay,
could shield up your whole team and then you lose it.
I would like to say that champions stealing stuff from other champions and or pretending to be other champions doesn't actually count as unique gameplay. That's just Riot not having ideas for like shit that's cool. So they're just like, here, you
Actually,
take it from other
it
people.
it feels like they had the same idea like 3 times because these are
Crap.
pretty much back to back to back releases, more or less.
I mean, yeah, how many champions were even between Zoe and Nico? Like 4?
It was what? I mean, what was the order of release?
I can look it up.
Pike,
Champion.
Pike was in the middle.
He
Yeah,
was.
it'd be like Zoe, Pike.
Wasn't
Champions
Nico
by
the
release
next one?
date.
Wasn't Nico the next one after Pike? There haven't been that many of late.
2018 releases. Kaisa and Pike, and then 2017 releases. I think Kane was after Zoe, maybe. So yeah, like 4
Okay.
champions between.
Yeah.
Or-
So, but I mean, yeah, realistically though, like I don't know. I feel like this champion could be very, very good. The fact that they have like a million dashes and all this team fight potential, and you steal ults. Like this seems like a champion that would be insanely good.
But
Like
let's be
5
real though. When was the last time that Riot released a champion whose kit was just actually bad, like weak, and then like just wasn't a good strong kit? Like it's been forever since that happened.
like Ivern.
Bard.
Yeah,
Bard.
maybe like Ivern, and even he was broken for a while until they changed.
Well, yeah,
some of
but I
his
mean they
dumb
broke him
shit.
because his numbers were stupid, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, probably Ivern though. I think you're right. Like it's been fucking so long since they've released a champion that isn't just stupid. Like Kane is pretty dumb. I don't know if he still is, but he was for a while. The Zaya Rakan crap, Pike is fucking broken and has been forever since he's been released. Zoe is the fucking most game breaking bullshit in the game. Nico's fucking dumb. Like all the shit that they release now is stupid. And that's just like there's no point even debating whether or not this champion is going to be good because fucking obviously it's going to be good because Riot Games are the ones that are making it. Like,
So Brad,
there's no even
what did
point.
you say? It was a zoo
debating.
creature that's like says what?
What?
Was it Ponderous was a zoo creature that says something? You
Oh,
said
Ponderous. If Ponderous were a zoo creature, it would be whichever one seems most likely to say, "Well, actually," as soon as you meet him.
well, actually, Riot hasn't made a good champion in years.
I didn't say I actually like some of the designs. Like I think Pike has a cool design, but he just objectively has been like ridiculous since his release, you know?
Yeah. I will agree. Like he's real good, I think, and I think he's pretty strong. The only thing that I think is really busted about Pike that doesn't need to be that
Fucking
busted
Akali?
is
Can we talk about Akali? That's
okay.
a new
Akali's
champion.
fucking dumb. I mean, that's
Aatrox rework? Fucking stupid.
I mean, Aurelia.
Irelia rework? Dumb. Like
well, actually.
Evelyn
Can
rework?
we talk
also
about
stupid.
new champs?
Evelyn rework wasn't that bad.
No,
You
I'd
haven't
agree,
played
I
against
think-
my Evelyn. Come on. Like you haven't seen me two-shot their team for 1,400 damage with my ult. Like
No, I haven't. But what I can do is watch you play on your stream this season.
Here's the thing, Brad. Here's the thing. First of all, why you gotta be a dick?
Wait. You're coming in
Oh,
hot.
I
said, "It
I
wasn't
choked
that
on my
bad," and your
own
response
spit.
was, "Well, actually, you haven't seen my Evelyn." So
Okay, you've seen silver and gold Evelyns. Like you haven't seen how dumb this
you're
fucking
right, because
champion
I
is.
play so much ranked exclusively.
But
and
that's
not
what-
any
then you're
games
just
with
proving
people
my
that are higher
point.
ranked than me.
Like you haven't seen any good
opposite.
Evelyns. I would guarantee you haven't seen any good Evelyn players. Like,
I've never watched like a high elo stream ever.
well, that's my point. Like, it's not even just my Evelyn that I'm talking about. It's like
That's
every
his point. You
Evelyn that
haven't.
knows what they're
Are
doing.
you Ernie Kim? Do you just not get sarcasm? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, he's got a point.
What?
No, who has a point about what?
Apparently, if you were a zoo animal, you'd be Eeyore's son.
I don't think. Actually, I don't think
He'd be
Eeyore
like
ever
Ernie
lived in a zoo,
Kim's
so it wouldn't really
hairier,
make any sense for
more
his
socially
offspring to be in
awkward
one.
cousin.
If I went to like the fucking 400 acre or 100 acre woods internment camp, that would be the zoo that you'd be in.
You know, he'd be like cousin It off the Addams Family. That would be the creature that Michael would be.
My point is, Evelyn's fucking dumb, and I know that because I play a bunch of Evelyn, and
I
it's
mean,
the
I
only
agree
champion
that-
I can carry people with.
I
Besides,
agree that Eve's dumb, but if you're comparing that to Aurelia and Akali reworks, like that's not even on a par.
oh sure,
with how
everything is shades of gray, but I mean,
Oh, for fuck's sake! You're making it sound like everything that's ever happened was the worst thing.
I mean,
Okay,
shit,
I'm
when was
kind
the
of
last time?
I'm
Ivern
kinda
was
with
like
Michael
12
on this
releases
one.
ago.
like I'm kind of with
I-
Michael on this one. Like every champion that they've released in the last several. I mean, it's been a while since they've released a champion that wasn't overloaded and broken.
I thought Kled was a pretty good one.
The
I
fact
think
that-
Talia was fine.
Yeah, Talia was fine. Kled was okay. I mean, Kled with the
Aesol was,
dismount mechanic was a little rough. But
Jin
like-
is weird, but
Well,
you know.
Aesol was dumb, but he was so different to play that at least they were like, if only one LCS player was any good at them.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
says
I
something.
just the thing I don't like about Asol is that he just absolutely encourages you to not play the game and just
Dude.
stand there with your W on, and then it kills the minions for you.
Never
Yeah.
interact with your lane opponent.
Echo's fucking broken. Tom Kench is dumb. Ilawi's just weird. I can't even talk about Ilawi. Bard was a good one. Rek'Sai was fine. Kallista's fucking dumb. Scion rework was fine. Azir's fucking dumb. Gnar is fine-ish. Not really. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. If more than 80% of the shit that's been released in the last 3 years is dumb, like, to me, that's a problem.
I mean,
But,
I think it's objectively, it actually is a problem. Like, as
like, I just think that like debating whether or not the new champion is gonna be any good is just completely irrelevant because either he's gonna release shitty and then people will learn how to play him and find out he's actually not shitty, by which time Riot will have buffed every single one of his abilities, making him a fucking monster that won't get nerfed for 2 months because reasons. Or he's gonna
we're gonna
release
wait till
overpowered.
9.8 to
Yeah.
solve this problem so we can get a
Yeah.
little more data.
Or he's going to be released and actually just already be stupid in everyone's eyes, and then he'll get like a love tap, and then that's it.
We don't want to nerf him until after mid-season invitational. No, so I agree that everything that's come out has been very strong. And I watched like a couple games of him on the PvE, and it was like, oh, everyone that's playing him's doing well. Okay, that's an indicator.
I will say real quick that everyone on the I've played on the PvE server, and it's so much worse than any normal server. Like the quality of players, it feels like you're playing a pre-30 game. Every game on the PvE server, there's like 1 or 2 diamond players that just destroy everyone, and then it's like literally everyone else is bronze, is what it feels like. And so that's why that's part of the reason why I haven't even looked at his kit, because I think that PvE games are completely worthless to like learn anything about the champion from. But I'm sure he actually is going to be broken. But I just don't want to say it's because of the PvE games, because I guarantee those are Diamond and Challenger players playing against entire teams of Bronze players who just wanted free skins on the PvE server. But
well, at the end of the day, he has a stun or root, a heal, an execute, and AoE wave clear. And his passive.
oh, so he's just like all the other champions that have been released in the last 12 months. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No,
Just
because
making
he's
sure.
unique and steals ultimate.
That's so unique. You're right. God, it's so unique. I just blasted uniqueness everywhere. It's so
Now,
fucking unique.
Brad,
dude.
I
It's
saw
so
your
unique.
face. He's referring to the Meteos video. Brad just thought that was like coming straight out of you. And no, it's a reference to the Meteos video where Meteos questions Riot's champion design. And he says he thinks that at Riot they don't think when they add a champion to the game, will this champion make the game more fun? Instead, they think, is this champion unique?
Yes, which is what they do.
And then he said, we should make a champion that can't move, auto attack, or do whatever else, but they're
Or cast
perfect,
spells.
or cast spells, but they're perfectly balanced and have a 50% win rate. And he's like, and then everybody at Riot would be like, oh yeah, do it, it's so unique, But the people will play it and they'll be like, this is shit. I don't want to play this, right? And so and then he
And then
goes
he
off on
mimed
like
jacking off.
he mimed jacking off and somebody like pinching his nipples or something. That was what it was.
And
So
all the while saying it's so unique while he was doing it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean that's the reference, but I don't know. We've kind of gotten miles off topic of what's going on in the or what's going on in the new patch. So the word on the street is that Riot is looking to tone down damage in runes
Of
and
the towers?
ignite. No, no,
No.
in runes and ignite in patch 9.2 and 9.3. So, in other words, less latent damage.
What are they gonna do? I mean, this is literally the company that took the attack speed rune from 9% to 10% and thinks that they have done anything. Like,
Listen,
what degree are they
well,
actually changing it by?
that's a pretty significant.
Fuck you, Brad. First of all, let me just get my note cards in order real quick. First of all, fuck you. Second of all, 1% attack speed is actually not that important, believe it or not.
Actually, 1% isn't that important.
How did I end up as the actually guy? Like,
Have you listened to the show ever?
Fuck no.
Let me just go back 15 seconds to when you just said, actually.
And forget it all. Like, someday I'll go back and listen only to the episodes that I was on, and then.
Well, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I do
want to talk
that.
about tower damage a little bit because I feel like it's reinforcing the bitch assness of a lot of people.
Yes,
like
it is.
For years we've been like, you can tower dive at level 3. It's okay. You can do it. And now the more towers do damage early, the more people are like, well, actually, I'm gonna fucking die. And we're like,
yeah, you are.
Yeah, I mean, I would still dive, but like, your point's becoming progressively more valid, and I don't like that.
I literally like cannot fathom the design philosophy behind the turret damage increase. Like, if they had increased it by like 5% or something, like something really small but still noticeable, like maybe it adds up to an extra like 75 or 100
what if
damage
they What if they gave the turrets like 1% additional attack speed?
It would mess with your rhythm CSing, but like not a lot.
But noticeably, but not a lot.
No, I always I've been a fan for a long time of like the risk reward of tower dives, and the more that they're like, hey, you know what, let him soak the wave under the turret at level 2 because we don't want people to get punished that hard. There's so many comeback mechanics. They'll be fine.
There's also the biggest comeback mechanic, which is the fact that the fucking turret is already gonna shoot people. Like, that is such a huge benefit. Like, even if you're getting dove by 2 people, sometimes there's nothing you can do. But like, having a turret doing damage to other people is massive. Like, that's worth so much already. And then they just buff it to be worth more than anything. Like, it goes from a level playing field to like 2 people trying to, create a dive opportunity, and then it just turns it into like 1 person standing there and doing nothing while 2 people have to furiously try to outplay them and then fail anyways because the 4th turret shot does 350 damage. Like,
maybe they can bring back laser turrets. Those were
that was such dog shit. I fucking hate those laser turrets.
Dude, trying to fucking CS under the laser turret was just, you're gonna have a bad time.
God, that turret change is like absolutely the worst thing that's happened in the preseason. I'm actually gonna say it's worse than bounties.
I am on the fence about that. I hate the bounties like
they're
so
both
much.
Pretty bad.
But like,
they're both awful. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, okay, so here's kind of my thoughts. Like, I feel as though they tried to make turret change and bounty change and minion push change the identity of the season, right? Like, that's what season 9 is. Yeah. No, like,
as
that's
opposed to like mechanical skill and fun.
Well, I mean, like, the idea is like, hey, we need to shake up the game, which
But the thing is that ironically, it makes the game like minion management even more brainless because now the benefits of like creating a slow push and pushing it into the wave and the benefits of like freezing and stuff are all mitigated because it's just going to be you pushing it into the turret and then recalling instead of like trying to capitalize on that opportunity to punish people. It's just like they're under their turret, so fuck you. Like, the thing about it is like the reason why it feels so bad. There's this kind of like, I guess, psychological phenomenon that basically a bad thing happening feels twice as bad as a good thing happening feels. So like when your favorite champion gets nerfed, it feels twice as bad as it would feel good if your favorite champion got buffed. It's basically like
kind
how
of like in poker where they say you always remember the bad beats. You always remember the hands you shouldn't have lost in.
Exactly. And that's like the reason to me why this whole tower damage increase like damage feels bad, because it takes like options that you used to have and just outright removes them from the game for like no reason. Like it was basically a nerf to every aggressive player in League of Legends by removing this tower mechanic. Not a nerf to any champion specifically necessarily, but like a nerf to a play style that is just like that didn't even make sense to nerf at all.
Would you
Oh,
argue
by the way,
that this
Smite
is actually all done because it's a shadow buff to Akali?
Okay. So,
Oh, God.
all right. So to follow up on.
Turrets. What
the-
does this game become?
Okay, so it's
Turrets.
okay. So anyway, they're doing a 9.2 small pass on Ignite, Smite, and Rune stat adjustments. They will follow up with a larger pass on 9.3 or 9.4, looking at runes and items. Also, they're like doing some stuff like Brand is gonna get a nerf, and a couple of the other like big boom boom champions. Zoe's taking a nerf. Yeah. So I mean, realistically, they're talking about identifying some of the problems and removing some of the damage because everybody's claiming that it's like League of Assassin boom boom burst, and they don't really like that.
But that's fun.
I mean, I think so, but I don't. Like, I don't know. I used to play Bond with like the health turned down to -7 because it made it more realistic and more fun. And versus like it takes 57 bullets from the club to kill somebody. Don't
The
ever
club
pick
was
up the
shit.
club.
You just need an RCP 90 and they get after it.
I every time we used to play that game, I'd pick up the club and I'd go, "It's clobbering time," and then I would immediately drop the club because it was a piece of shit.
Is that a reference to something?
Yes, Thing from Fantastic Four.
Oh, Thing, that was it.
I know. It was more fun to ask. On a small, I feel like we've taken kind of a negative turn. So I would like everyone that's on the show to click on the link that I posted in our Discord. Don't read it. Just click on it.
I already read it, but
balls.
It's got Velcro hands. It's
I found the one's the Boomafood toy you could potentially buy on Amazon.
It's currently unavailable.
It's unavailable.
I would have spent that sweet Patreon money to send Ponderous one of these Boomafood plushies.
I thought you were gonna say I thought we were doing you're gonna make us do like couples counseling with Riot. Now we all have to say one thing that we like about Riot Games.
We're gonna have to compliment Sandwich Riot Games.
Okay, let's do that.
Riot.
You go first, Michael.
I think that the music department did a really good job with the KDA music video. That's my compliment.
Okay.
I think that they did a stellar bang up job on that.
All right, I've got my whole sandwich.
Wait. Continue the compliment sandwich.
You need to compliment. So compliment, criticism, compliment.
Criticism, everyone working on the balance team is a brain dead fucking retard that I could do the job of their entire department and fix this game in under a week. And then my other compliment is, I don't know, I liked Nico's hair. Thought it was pretty cool. What about you? What about you?
I got mine. All right, Riot, you have the best video game in the world. Middle one, you are ruining it. Actively every time you try to make it better. But you haven't ruined it yet because I'm still playing. So maybe don't. Hooray!
I feel like we shouldn't have made me go first because I feel like I just brought down the whole mood of this.
Yeah, you kind of set a tone. It's like we all sat down to eat like a Klondike bar, and you just threw it on the ground first.
Eat it. Eat it.
5-second rule.
I suppose it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Riot, that video you did where Annie had Tibbers and it was like a super like a movie trailer. I liked that a lot. That was fun.
It's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. A twist of fate or something like that.
Yeah, that was a
Duel of
good movie
Fates, I
trailer.
believe.
And then I would say, uh, maybe maybe you could consider rewarding people for taking risks and making aggressive actions, uh, which doesn't seem to be the case currently. But on a positive note, the game's free, so that's pretty good.
The game is
The game
free.
is
and
free.
None of
He's
us
got
have
a point.
spent any money on it.
He's got a point. So, yeah, like directionally, I'm not loving this, and I feel like this season's gonna be. I hope they don't really hard sell in this meta. I'm afraid they have, because I don't see anything in here about dialing back on turret damage or bounties or anything like. They have been oddly silent about
What was even the
bounties.
logic on the turret damage increase though? Like, what was the point? Like,
Uh,
I can understand on some level the twisted logic behind the bounty system. Like, I can at least like
okay,
get what they're
so
saying.
The
as I
bounty system's
recall,
like if you're playing Mario Kart and you get really far behind
Yeah,
at the
that's what
beginning.
they want.
They're
They
like, well,
want
we
the game
want
to be.
you to finish the race, so let's
They want
make
this game to be
everyone
fucking
else
Mario
slow
Kart.
down and give you a blue shell.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
want
the-
this game to be Mario Kart. I get that. I don't want it to be Mario Kart. I don't know anyone that does want it to be Mario Kart, unless you're counting the people on Reddit whose opinions are worthless. But I mean, I guess we are. That's the core player base. So fuck everyone else.
I mean,
Actually,
like there is some merit to saying that you need to balance around the majority of the player base, but at the same time, I can't imagine that the majority of the player base is like, yeah, I don't want to win if I'm ahead. Like that's not something I'm interested in. I would
So,
rather potentially lose at any moment if something happens. Like that's
so is
not.
this Riot's like commentary on safe space culture and how they don't want anyone?
That's
to
why
be
they want that. That was the real change. The turret change was politically motivated. You heard it here first.
Yeah, because here's the thing: we don't. It's less important to reward people for doing good things than it is to make sure that people that do bad things don't feel so bad about it and still have a chance to make up for it.
That is exactly what it's about.
Okay,
Because
so realistically, that is in an odd way exactly what it is. And Riot had said actually their point
Under
was
the
that
turret is my safe space.
well, no, what they said is they want to prolong laning phase. They want to give somebody who's behind a meaningful opportunity to actually like survive, and so you don't get butt crushed. And because I mean, to be fair, the biggest pain point in the game is getting smashed like '06, right? Like, so they want to remove that so
we've talked
people will
about
stay in the game and fight it out and not get pissed, force a surrender. The idea is that if you take out the most smashed, butthurt, negative player and don't let them get smashed and butthurt and negative, then maybe they won't spread that negativity across their team, resulting in,
yeah.
early surrenders and discontent and
Well,
whatever.
Blake,
And
we've
I
talked
mean,
about this
there is
before.
merit. There is merit to that.
Well, but
And
we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on a show, but we've talked about the fact that Riot is actually pretty good at diagnosing the problems with the game. They just pick the dumbest ways to fix them imaginable. And then we get shit like bounties and turret damage. Like every single time
then we
they're like,
get shit like
we-
Scion Q nerfs.
yes,
whenever-
exactly. Like,
Okay, so anybody
they
who hasn't
always
been
figure out what's
listening,
fucked up.
okay, anybody who
But-
hasn't been listening for like 25 episodes, right? There was a long time ago that we talked about like Scion was broken for a while because his
Yes.
E damage, if he hit you by punting a minion with Comet, it was right when Comet first came out. He'd punt a minion at you. The base damage on that was so high.
And the base damage on Comet was high back then.
And the base damage on Comet was super high. So you get hit, and it'd be like, damn, I just lost like 50% of my health. And then Comet would take like another 5%. And you're like, wow, like after he does that a few times, I don't have any health left, and he's Scion, and so
And
he's just
corrupting potion was a thing now, so like everyone had mana. He always had mana sustain as well, and the minion would go like 1,500 units, so it was just
Very
impossible
quickly.
to like have a safe area against him. Yeah, it was real bad. And
Mhm.
but so this in the midst of
So
this,
in the midst of all
yeah,
this, they're like, then this is proves Michael's point exactly. Riot sees this and they say, you know what, Scion's too strong. All right.
Science E specifically is too
Yeah.
strong.
Wait,
They
wait.
even knew
I'm
what
getting
the
there. I
problem
think I
was.
go. Okay.
Like,
All right.
I
Scion's too
remember when this
strong.
happened.
Particularly his E does is too much consistent damage in lane as a harassment pattern for someone who's supposed to be tanky and reliant on his Q for damage. So
So
we're
what did
going
they
to
do, Blake?
nerf his Q. And I just went, what?
Arr?
And they're like, yeah, if we nerf his Q, then we will make you put points into his Q so you get that Q damage back because you have to first max it. But that didn't make any sense because you're still going to max your E first because it still did more damage. It didn't do anything to what the problem area was.
it
It's
doesn't even feel
like,
fair to be discussing this without Frost, though.
I
Like,
know,
it feels like we're cheating on him right now.
I know. It feels like I need like a riot sympathizer and Frost in here to just be like, nah, man, the Holocaust didn't happen. You
And
know,
Riot Games did not perpetrate it.
and Riot Games did not nerf the Q. That made total sense. But no, like I said, it
Like, it's just a
was
quintessential example of what we're talking about. Where
yeah,
they're like,
it's like the
this
perfect
thing is
example.
an
Like
issue. And
this
we're
thing's an
like, okay,
issue,
we're on the same page.
right?
Nice, good
So
start.
solve that thing. You know, like
Well, no,
address it
don't say
directly.
solve that thing, because that implies that there are like a million different ways that you can go about it. Like, solve that thing is way too broad. How about address that thing specifically with the changes that you make? Because everything they do is in a roundabout way. Like, Scion's E is too powerful, nerf his Q. What the fuck? Like, I can make anyone who's never played this game understand why that makes no sense as a concept. But they're just like, why not just nerf the E? Like, you can't even make an argument for why you wouldn't just nerf the E. Like, E is doing too much damage, therefore nerf E.
It's also not even like I can make anyone that hasn't played the game understand why this doesn't make sense. The better version is I can't make anyone that has played this game understand why that does make
Oh
sense.
no, there were people that were. That's why we're talking about Frost. Frost was like defending that decision, and we were just like, Frost, are you fucking serious right now? Like, this is just objectively the dumbest thing ever. And that's another discussion, though. I don't really want to. I don't feel like tearing into Aiden right now. He can't even defend himself.
Nah, he
but-
can't defend himself. He's not your Wormlax. Chill out. So, so you know, that being said, I don't know, man. Like, I don't. This season doesn't really feel like it has a lot of identity. Is what the problem I have with like, other than like slapped on stickers as to what the game is going to be, but like we changed it in this way, slap slap. And
I thought that like stuff like the turret plating change
I
was
thought
like
the turret
a
plating was
step in the right
cool.
direction.
But that's not enough of a difference to be like, this
Well,
is
sure,
the
but like,
season
okay,
of
so
turret
like if you
plating.
did, so like if you wanted to make this the objective season, like you want this to be the season that's all about objectives. They kind of did that by lowering the dragon times, buffing the first dragon. Like, dragon is now more important than ever, arguably. You really want to be getting early pressure onto the plates, but like I just feel like I agree it wasn't enough, and it didn't really push the game in enough of that direction of like, okay, we're really going to be all about objective control this season. That's the thing that you want this season. And I think that if they had leaned into that idea of like objective control being the thing, then that would have been a cool idea for a season. But like you've got this like weird like half of it is this and then half of it is the other thing, because it's like you really want to encourage people to be like getting these tower plates, but also once you've pushed someone under turret, it's incredibly difficult to dive them and force them out of lane so that you can take turret plates. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it feels weird. It feels like you're both incentivized and like to get them, but also it's impossible for you to actually like, not always, but like more so than in other seasons.
You know, it'd be a great
It's
way to
difficult
get
to push
turret
that in.
plates. Bring your jungler and dive them, and then you
Yeah.
kill them.
Exactly.
And then they're not there. It seems
Well, but that's
guaranteed.
what I'm saying though. Is like that's way harder than it was ever
Right.
before. You know, like
Yeah, I
it's
was
just
bringing it full circle.
no, I got you. But yeah, I would just like I think that objective control, that's like a fine, like, if you want that to be the thing, okay, then let's do that. Let's do objective control as this season's like thing. Make the dragons more important. Maybe even put something where the herald goes earlier, like at 7 minutes or 8 minutes or something. Like, I don't fucking know. Do whatever. But
2 heralds.
yeah, double heralds. That would be brilliant. Make the herald have a dedicated button instead of having it take over your wards. I mean, hey,
That's really
if we're
dumb.
being crazy, we could even do something like that. But I don't know, man. I'm not. I mean, I haven't really been optimistic about any of the seasons recently. Like, a lot of them have just had dumb shit. Like, that's just like the new thing now. Is they always
Okay.
have like a couple good ideas. Like, I thought plants were pretty cool, and I thought they were a good.
Yeah, I was
addition.
actually going to mention that I thought plants were cool, and I thought elemental dragons were cool. You know, like there's definitely excellent things that have happened that are
And
positive.
they usually get like at least one thing right per preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they make one sweeping change that's really cool. And like, I think the turret plates are a little bit flawed because I think there's certain play patterns that they can promote, like especially on mid lane. I think mid lane is the worst for turret plates because it makes it more like, if I'm playing mid lane and I'm playing a roam champion like Katarina, I can go down to bot lane and get a kill and get 300 gold for that. But if the Zed that I'm laning against just pushed the turret and got 2 plates, he gets 320 gold for that. So like, he did the less skillful play, but he also got rewarded more so, and also didn't have to like fight anyone to do it. He just killed minions and then right clicked the turret. So like, those are the types of things that I take issue with this season as far as the turret plates go. But I think that overall it's fine,
But,
and I
mean,
think that
that's
it's at
the
least a
thing,
cool
though,
enough
is-
play, a cool enough addition to be like worth
I mean, that's
keeping.
the thing, though, is like
Or-
I agree with you that turret plates do disincentivize roaming, and that's generally, I think, a negative. But I feel like the concept behind turret plates is that you're
Oh yeah,
pushing
sure.
out your opponent, and then you get an extra advantage for that.
Oh no, I totally agree with that.
So, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
like
exactly.
good and bad. I
Yeah.
did the scales thing with my hands
This
for
is an
everybody
audio
who's
format.
listening, but
Guys,
it's good and
guys.
bad.
I have an idea.
What's up?
Tell us.
So, I think for like the last segment of the podcast, we should each say the one thing that we really hope Riot puts in last second before patch 9.1 comes out. So, like, mine would be, in addition to a trinket slot, it'd be super cool if there was just like a designated slot that you could only put pink wards in, so that you could have pink wards the whole game even when you're full build.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
they've been
don't know.
talking about that
Everybody's been
forever.
asking about that for like 3 seasons. I don't know why they haven't done that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like, I don't feel like pink wards should be
I mean-
something that's like a trade-off.
The only thing that would be, well, it's not even like it's season 3 where like you could buy as many pinks as you want, and it's also like they're invisible. Like, I don't think that, because okay, I guess the theoretical issue with it is like you get to a 50-minute game, everyone has 6 items, everyone also has 2 pink wards, but I feel like pink wards don't have like the utility in numbers in the late game that they used to. You know what I mean? Plus, you can only have
more
one out at a
denying
time.
vision than anything else.
Right. It's more like denying specific vision than anything else. And like at 50 minutes plus, like the teams are allegedly are going to be pretty even, you know?
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, I've definitely been in games where it's like,
I don't know.
I have 3,000 gold, but also I really like to still have pink wards.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
shit.
Yeah. Okay, so the one thing that I I would do is honestly, I think a reduction in turret. I even more. This is gonna be surprising for me, but even more than bounties is a reduction in turrets damage. Reduction in turret damage. I think that would actually be
Yeah,
better for the game because I think it was
I agree.
a healthy state before, and I don't think like I think those changes just
I mean,
make the
if you
game
watch like
less fun.
videos from like season 2 or 3 where like the turrets still did jack shit in terms of damage, like the amount that even before this recent buff to turrets, the amount that they were doing like all throughout season 8 was like already has been significantly increased over the years. Like turrets have only continued to do more damage as people have learned how to tower dive more effectively. Damage has been more optimized. Like as people have gotten better at the game, turrets have always done more damage. And like I honestly think that like they were near the cap of how much damage is logical for them to deal because they were already doing like 300 plus on the final ramped hit, which is a lot. Like especially at level 6 when everyone's got like 1,000 or 1,200 HP, like that's a significant amount. And then it feels weird to see it go even higher than that on an amount that I think was like pretty well tuned already. But I would love to see that go back, but it's not going to happen because they
Yeah,
like it.
it's
Well,
one of those
actually, I
things
think
where
like I said, it's tied into what the identity is of the season, and I don't
Yeah.
think
It's
like
non-negotiable, right? Doesn't
yeah,
negotiate with
I think
terrorists,
that I
aka
think
their player base.
well,
actually I think it is pretty non-negotiable because they've made it like I said, they've made it the core of the season. And if there's only like 3 changes, you can't really like revert 2 of them and still have a season.
Yeah, but I
yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean, we did see like right, like when coming back to the laser beam towers when those came out, everyone was like, "Wow, that's too much," and those went away. So maybe there's a chance that
oh
we
yeah,
get some
they did go
slight
away, but how long did it take? Like when I say
a
they're not
season.
going to change it, I mean they're not going to change it inside of 6 months. They might
Oh,
change
right.
it eventually, but they're
Yeah,
not
I'm
going
just
to
saying,
change it. Like,
fingers crossed that we wind up getting because and if the turrets did more damage later in the game, right? Like if the idea was, you know, just because to Blake's like you're 0-6 and you're just trying to sit under your turret and farm, but you're playing against I don't know fucking Renekton and he has a dead man's plate and just doesn't give a shit about your turret already and is just gonna sit under there for 10 turret shots. Like if they want to have the ramping happen more later in the game because that would defend their 0-6 person, fine. But don't defend the 0-1 guy that doesn't want to engage his lane opponent already.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Eh,
so I'm reading Twitch chat right now, and there's a
same.
comment on there's a lot of things that are positive about the game, and we need to discuss those because we seem to be overwhelmingly negative, like we hate the
I,
game.
I
And
here. Let me take
I
this real
do
quick.
want to address this. The reason that we are being so negative is because we're talking about the changes that have happened in the game over the
Oh, the reason
preseason.
I'm being so negative is because I fucking love this game. Like, I don't want to give the impression that I don't like the game. Because if I was bored by the game and I didn't like it, I would just leave and I wouldn't play it anymore. That's what happened to me last season. I just didn't play for like 4 months. I mean, you guys were. I mean, Brad, you probably didn't see that. I don't think you were playing either. But like, the reason why we go like hard on Riot and hard on the game's design philosophy is because those things are like the most important aspects of the game, and like it really hurts when you see things that you know are detrimental to the game's longevity and detrimental to the game's like enjoyability just being made for the hell of it. And that's more what I'm trying to like that's more what I'm trying to talk about. It comes across as negativity a lot, but I mean that's just kind of how I am. And I'm sorry if you feel like I was being condescending with my comments about Reddit people. I mean, I kind
Well,
of
no,
was, but
actually, they agreed with you on that. This is no
oh,
comment on Reddit experts.
I think that everyone on Reddit is not everyone on Reddit. Like obviously there's 2 million people on the League subreddit or something stupid. Like obviously if I say everyone that's on the League subreddit is dumb, that's an overgeneralization and it's not true. But it's more like the vast majority, enough to the point where like I don't have to then like make a qualifying statement every time of like, oh, but there's 5% that are good. Like, no, it's a cesspool. Like, everyone doesn't know what they're talking about there, and that's fine. Like, those people
Well, I mean,
should have a place to talk too, but it's just not good for discussion about like how the game actually works. That's more what my point is.
I mean, it's the same kind of concept that if you're trying to get anything done, opening it up to the hive mind will not get it
Exactly.
done the best way
I will say
possible.
I've seen some brilliant Reddit posts. I saw like and on the
Well,
league
no,
official.
hold up. What I'm getting at is individuals can come up with really good ideas, post thoughts, whatever.
Yes.
But whenever you expose it to like public forum, it
Right.
devolves.
It's more of a public forum thing than it is a League of Legends player thing.
Yeah.
Is basically the point. But like I saw this post on the boards about like intelligent ways to change the Baron in the late game to make it like more of a fair objective, and it was like 5 paragraphs and it had like 8 upvotes, and it was like super well thought out and super well written. It just didn't get any traction because it was long and like not complicated, but like complex, I guess. So, but yeah, the only reason that I
Well,
like
and it wasn't
shit on this
particularly like sexy either.
exactly, it's
I
like
gotta tell you, I've been on Reddit twice under the account Upvote LOLA Podcast, and I did it to
Yeah.
upvote the LOLA Podcast.
Yeah. By the way, I got
I've
banned
never
for
read
that,
a thing on there.
Brad.
What?
I said I got banned for that like last week.
For what?
Vote brigading the Lola podcast, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I linked a post and they didn't upvote, and I didn't ask for upvotes, but I still got banned. And it was one of the coaching sessions that I did.
Good. You don't
So
belong there. Boy.
yeah, super. But
I've
anyway,
never read anything on there.
so yeah, probably the account upvote Lola podcast did not help with the whole I don't vote
So-
brigade argument.
yeah. All right, real quick. So let me read this from Twitch chat. I understand that it comes from a good place, but this game changes very regularly, and a lot of times people aren't happy, but we get used to it, and we usually end up not thinking things are that bad. I don't disagree with that statement, but I guess it's like more from a place of like ideally all the changes that come to the game will either make it more competitive, make it more fun to play, or make it, I guess, more interesting, if that makes sense. Like, that's kind of a weird one, but like at least with like the ones like tower plating, even if it doesn't make the game more fun necessarily, it might not make the game more competitive necessarily, but it is the change for the sake of change. It's the third branch. It's the change
Yeah,
for the
it's
sake of change,
interesting.
which I'm okay with. I
Yeah.
don't hate change just because it's change, but and that's why I'm okay with the turret plates, because I don't think it significantly impacts the game enough, but it does mix things up. My problem comes from changes like the bounty system and the tower damage, because I can confidently say that it doesn't fall under any of those categories. It doesn't make the game more fun because you're basically interacting less with the other players, and that's where, to me, the whole enjoyment of the game comes from, is trying to fight and outplay the other players. This is just lessening any instances of that happening. So it doesn't make the game more fun, I think.
It very specifically encourages you to take less.
And to not interact with the other champion. Like, it's just encouraging you to basically not play the game. So I think it objectively
Well, and I mean,
makes
if
the
you
game
can
less
say
fun.
that leads are less valuable, and then therefore it's less desirable to do things in order to establish an early lead, then yes, I mean that is a disincentive. Like objectively, and I don't think that's a negative thing to say, it's just an observation of logic. You know, like this is the natural result of the change you are making.
On a positive note, if you tower dive and you both die and it goes terribly wrong, that person now has a bounty. So that's pretty
yeah, that's true. I will say, like, I have claimed a huge bounty, and I was like, ooh.
I was a 15 and like I was like a 10-2 jacks yesterday, and I claimed 1,000 gold bounty on their other player, and I was like, yeah, this feels like it should be happening. We lost that game, so fucking who cares? But anyways, and then the second branch that I talked about was it makes the game more competitive. I don't think it makes the game more competitive because, again, you're reducing instances of interacting with other players. You're reducing instances of outplays from either player. So,
Yeah.
people forget that when you get tower dove 2v1, sometimes it's a death sentence, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can outplay the 2v1, and that's regardless of the turret damage. Like, sometimes you, as a player, can exhibit skill to win a 2v1 under your turret. That takes an amount of skill, too.
Well, and
That
I,
takes a ton of
honestly,
skill a lot of
like
the time.
those are the moments that, like, for me, I feel the most like I don't know, for the lack of not sounding like a total cliche, like alive while
Yeah.
playing League of Legends, right? Is you're
It's
just like,
the stuff where you just start yelling.
It
and
feels
you
like
yeah,
if
you
you
go like,
boil down, yeah,
woo! Like those are the
"Oh, get
moments.
fucked!
the
These
essence.
motherfuckers finally get down
Go
to me. Y'all ain't
get
shit.
fucked.
You motherfuckers ain't shit. Go get fucked and get the fuck out of my lane. Now give me that one plate before I go back.
If you boil down the essence of what makes League fun, to me, that's exactly what it is those types of moments. Like, that's what makes this game great to play, are those moments where you, like, outplay people 2v1 under turrets. Shit like that. Like, that to me is what, and I know it's different for other people, but I think that is pretty universal, that, like, that's one of the things that is most enjoyable about this game. But now you basically encourage that to never happen because instead of trying to dive you 2v1, they're just not going to bother because it's too risky and they're more likely to die now. So to me, it makes the game less competitive. And it also doesn't make the game more interesting because it's not a real change. It's a numbers adjustment, which does not make the game more fun to play, doesn't make the game more interesting. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't fit any of those three branches, and that's why it's a bad change, in my opinion. You can have another opinion if you want, but that's just the way that I feel
Well, no,
about
I
those
think
types
what
of
she's
changes.
saying is that even when the community perceives a bad change, there's like a natural resilience where you get used to it,
Yes,
and it's maybe not as catastrophic as you thought.
true.
That, you know, once you kind of internalize it and deal with it, like the world is not ending, the sky is not falling,
Yeah, so
right?
let's talk about that because that to me it's the same principle that I was already talking about because if you sacrifice one for another, like if you sacrifice fun for more competitiveness, that is a trade-off. And those can be okay. Like if you make the game slightly less fun but you make a really interesting change, that's a trade-off. Or if it's more interesting but maybe a little bit less competitive or something like that.
Like the varying dragons would be,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
RNG variable that's in the game, but
exactly.
it makes it interesting.
Yeah, and
yeah.
even if it's like maybe like 5% less competitive or even 2% less competitive because there is that element of randomness, and sometimes you'll just get 3 fire dragons and win.
Right, but
Just
it is
through
like
no skill of your own.
it is like 25% more interesting.
Exactly. So
Right.
so to me that's a real trade-off. But you have to have a net gain in one area, at least one area. And to me, the changes that I ride the hardest, that I dislike the most, are the changes where I don't see a benefit in any of those three areas. And to me, that's what the bounty system is. That's what the tower changes are. So that's why those are the changes that get me the most, like, the most heated and the most irritated, and the ones that I harp on the most because I don't see them having any tangible benefits to the game, and that's a problem to me. Like,
Right.
Okay.
And, and our friend in Twitch chat adds the point that there are some potential benefits for bounties or arguments to be made in their favor. Specifically, it adds a new level of thinking to the game because there's another aspect you have to consider while making decisions. I hear you, and you're not incorrect, but having a bounty on your head still incentivizes you to take less risks, and in my opinion, makes the game less interesting.
Right.
Um,
Well, I mean, it also ignores the fact that there was already. It just makes risks riskier and therefore disincentivized.
with
And
no increased reward.
right, and there already was a
and I mean, you
disincentive to
could make the
taking those
argument that
risks.
it's
Like that
a
was already
net.
there.
Yeah, you can make the argument that it's a net increase in fun, maybe because when you're losing, you lose less hard,
Well,
and
see,
it
that's the
increases the
problem.
ability for
And I mean,
comebacks.
we've
But
we've talked about that a lot too. It the idea is that the bounties are supposed to fall on your weakest member. but that's
Right.
not likely to
Well,
happen.
and that's what happened to me when I was 10-2 Jax and I killed their 10-0 Lee Sin. Now I'm instead of going from 10-2 to 11-2, I now essentially went to 14-2. You
Oh,
know?
that's an interesting idea. Successful tower dives adding money to the kill.
I
That'd be
upvoted that in
interesting.
Twitch chat.
That's an
I
interesting
just
thought. I mean,
I
stuff
just
like
think the
that.
towers were perfectly balanced before. I don't know.
But I mean,
So
I'll tell you this. I think that like the whole issue addressing negativity and bounties and things like that, like the whole thing, it is really just a difference of perspective on emphasis. And I think it's okay for us to be negative to a degree, except to the fact that it makes the show less entertaining when it's overwhelmingly shitting. But like, it's okay to be negative because like we have a platform to say what our opinions are on the game as higher elo players that like are trying to help other people get better and are trying to discuss what makes the game good and bad,
Tick. Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
more what it is for me. Is like I really just enjoy dissecting what makes this game tick and what like gameplay loops are good, what gameplay loops are bad, what aspects are the things that bring people back to this game and make people play, and are those pillars that are what's interesting about this game being upheld by Riot, who
right,
are
and
supposed
I
to be
feel
the ones taking care of it.
I feel like it's very similar to like journalism, right? Like
Yeah,
people dog on journalists and they're like, "Oh, you only report negativity," right? And things like
yeah.
that. Well, to a certain degree, when you're presented with negativity, that's really what you should be reporting, right?
Yeah.
But every now and then a puppy gets saved from a tree, and we should really talk about that too, because there are good things that are going on in the background, like turret plating. But okay, your
Well,
point, what I'm getting at is your point is well taken. I appreciate that you took the opportunity, and I hope we at least turned around some of the negativity. And moving forward, we don't intend to talk about preseason changes or anything for a while. We're going to go back to the UNSW Law Society videos and talk a lot more about those and like how to get better and things like that. Like that's going to be the focus. So
I know we're running a little long, but I had a couple of thoughts.
shoot.
One, sometimes we have changes that people are initially opposed to, like when we limited the number of wards you could have on the map, or how many you could purchase or have in your inventory at a time. And there were definite added benefits to that that made the game more interesting, i.e., a support was no longer just a gold generating item and ward totem basically that just walked around and dropped wards everywhere. They got to buy items and it added some complexity to the gameplay and some different elements to what they were able to do. So I
Created
think
a new niche, and it
right.
was more fun.
So there are definitely times where there are changes that people are adverse to, which is I think what Twitch chat was getting at before, which was there are changes that will happen and then everyone kind of adjusts and you move on and you get used to it. And I think that was a circumstance where even as it was happening, we were like, well, this is a change and I don't like not having a million wards, but I see where this is going, right?
Right.
I
Okay,
think part of the reason that
I want to jump in on that. It reminds me a lot of like that change. I thought as a support main, I thought was great. Like I thought it was great that they made me not a ward bot and I could buy items without getting yelled at. That's all very good. And then so Sightstone came out and you're gonna do that now, so you can buy Sightstone early. And then they took a turn and they're like, oh yeah, now your Sightstone's gonna be tied to your support item and you have to do a quest and you have to blah blah blah. That was not a good change, right? And I feel like I can say I like the direction you went to up to this point, and then you did something that I think was bad, right? And
right.
and that's the thing is like we even said we didn't mind bounties where they were at; they were probably still too high, but it didn't feel like a blue shell, and now it does. And I feel like being able to say that we've probably said it
But
for
it
way
even
too many
feels like the
episodes.
second place player can get a blue shell now, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and that's not
Right.
how it's supposed to work. You know what I
right.
mean? Like there should be something that's like if you are 10-2 that you don't get to redeem bounties.
Yeah.
You know,
So
or
let me finish
something. I don't know.
my rant of how this thought was going.
Yeah.
So we have we've had some changes where people were initially opposed and then eventually came around
Acclimated.
to, and then sometimes they went too far, like Blake was saying, like maybe just leave it at Sightstone, right? Like we moved in the right direction, and so then that got me thinking, well, what was the last change that happened that was just universally accepted? Because like the last big change that I think was very controversial was the different camps showing up on the mini map, so you didn't have to time when buffs went
Oh
down,
yeah,
when
I
dragons
still
went down.
don't like. I've gotten over it, but yeah.
But to your point, that does add some interesting elements. It makes people aware of when stuff's coming up, and they can be contested. And so there are pluses and minuses.
Yeah, to me, it's minus competitive plus interesting. Basically,
right?
That's the net trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I figured out the last change that happened to League of Legends that everyone was on board with.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer, my friends, is the undo button in the shop.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I don't think
and
anybody
Smart Ping's adding
that.
the ability for me to question mark people without having to type it in chat. I thought that was a great change. I think.
Some people might not love that.
Oh my god!
I think the undo button in the shop was like everyone was like, "Fuck yes, finally!"
Yes, definitely.
The ability to mute people's pings and emotes.
Oh my Christ! Yes,
ooh, that's a good one too.
That was the biggest.
Muting pings is the second coming of Christ.
Oh, I remember before that was a feature, and I'd piss off somebody doing something small, and then it would be ding, 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 ding for the rest,
of the game. Goddamn game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god! I was like, this is worse than being flamed because I can't even hear.
And sorry, I didn't get my first red buff 80 carry. Jesus.
And if you turn off the ping volume, it turns off the ping volume for your 3 other players too.
Yeah.
So you just
So it's like not all or nothing. I remember those days. But there's a ton of things that Riot does that are great. It's just those things. Yeah, I guess we should probably take some more time to pass them on the back for. It's just like I want to address with logic why I don't like the direction that they're choosing, and I hope that someone at Riot, I know we actually have rioters that listen to the show, which is why I feel like I have a duty to address it.
Duty.
Because it may actually gain some kind of weight.
Well, also, the important thing here is when changes happen that we like, we go nuts about how cool those changes are. And when changes happen that we don't like, we're going to talk about those too. So I think it's unbiased in general because we're not like the shit on League podcast. And also, we all play the game, and we've all been playing the game for a long time, and we'll continue to play the game. So it's not in any capacity like we're like, this game fucking blows. No one should play it. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda.
Yeah, I try to be like, I try to be fair. If a little extreme with my views, like, but when they do something right, I do try to give them props. It's probably just like it's way faster and easier to be like, hey, I thought they did a great job on this. Nothing needs to be said. You guys nailed it. Like that's all that's really said. But when something is bad, if you say something is bad, you have to be able to explain why.
To be fair, if you say something is bad, you also have to convince people that you are right, or they will automatically resist your opinion. And that's the problem. We could be like, bounties are bad, so we'd be like, I like bounties. And then they just shut down everything you say. So you have to go into detail and support your opinion. But either way, that being said, I mean, hell, Michael loves League of Legends so much he's growing a big black poro on top of his head. So, there you have it.
It's for my bra
cosplay. You have a luxurious mane.
Thanks. I really need to chop it off, but I don't know if I'm ready to yet. It's so fluffy.
Your hair makes it look like you have Princess Leia hair ears right now.
I totally see it.
So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. That ought to do it. I mean, hell, we've gone way long, but that being said, I want to address Killzil had me he wanted to make me have an announcement because I told him I wasn't gonna do anything with the tournament. And that's his baby, and he was like, "Okay, no problem." And then out of nowhere, he's like, "Oh, I need you to read this." And I'm like, "Ah, gotcha." So anyway, here we go. He says, he will be on the podcast coming up next week. He has some stuff to do tonight, so he wanted me to read this. Tell Lola that the tournament is next community game night, the 16th, but an hour early. It's at 7 p.m. They can play/sub the night of by hanging out in the sub hub in the Discord channel and getting an assigned team by him when and if needed. So if you are not on a team and you still want to participate, hang out in the sub hub. Last time we had a ton of people that like no showed. We combined teams, we brought in subs, and pretty much I think maybe
Frankenstein the shit out of it.
well, yeah, I think we
basically.
had like maybe one or two people in the sub hub that didn't get used. So if you want to play, show up, play. No doubt. You'd probably be able to get in there one way or the other. If not, then, come join, sit on Twitter, toss us that, Patreon money or that Twitter money.
One other thing about the tournament, Blake actually told me before this that he is going to secretly put a $100 per person pot bonus for the first place team of the tournament. So let's just all give him a round of applause for that because
Okay,
he's just
so
a great guy.
totally not doing that. And yeah,
I think
probably
you forgot some zeros there, Ponderous.
yeah, like you added some zeros there. So no, I will. We always give out a prize for these things. So
What
there
even
will
is
be
the prize?
like,
I don't even fucking.
it's usually like a
Dude.
mystery skin to all the winners, and
It's a surprise. That's what it is.
yeah. We don't know what the prize is because you're gonna get it randomly from Riot Games. But no, we usually buy out something like that and give everybody a mystery skin or something. So, and that's just
You also
kind
get
of
a
out
free
of our
subscription
pocket.
to the podcast.
Yeah, you can also listen
Twitch.
to this podcast anytime you want.
Yeah. Wow.
But no, that being said,
If you lose, though, get the fuck out of here.
yeah.
We don't.
That
We don't
being
like
said,
to associate with.
Okay, guys, Jesus Christ. So
Sorry.
that being said,
Patreon.
Patreon is doing really well. I really appreciate you guys' support. I think we're gonna end up buying a new mic for Danger Penguin. Like, I have to buy that guy everything. His camera was like 4 pixels, and his mic now sounds terrible. We got a whole bunch of feedback on the last episode that Danger Penguin like could not be heard. So
Like, you still using
I will
this
get a
one?
new
No,
mic
I
at some
got-
point as well.
I
By the
got
way.
this guy, this big old Blue Yeti son bitch.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
I will probably get my own microphone so that you guys don't hear me piece of crap anymore. But I'll
You
do
cut
that.
in and
at
out
some-
the entire time you were saying.
Yeah, that's kind of
Awesome.
ironically
Perfect.
perfect that you cut out
Yes.
during that.
Me get new mic.
But
Understand?
yeah, I may buy some like new mics or something. Like I sent Zill that mic, Brad.
This one?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
sent
this
him
thing
my
kind of
version of
sucks
that.
ass.
Yeah, it's not great, but it did the
But it's
job.
been working for like 3 years.
Yeah, I mean for like the $20 I think we paid for it, it's been pretty good. This one that I got's a little bit better, but whatever. You can actually hear me like 2 rooms away with this son of a bitch. It's insane. So, anyway, so that being said, I probably will upgrade the equipment. If we have enough money at the end of the year, I want to do something nice for the podcasters. Like we could all go to Worlds or something, and I will have the podcast pay for like the room that we stay, or rooms that we stay in or something. If we all,
we
all
did
go
miss
down.
this year. We've done something the last couple of years, but not this year.
yeah, we missed this year. But I mean, kind of everything was up in flux. Like Sam had left, and Worlds was in like Korea, and nobody was really excited about the NA finals
The,
this
the
year.
podcast has really gone downhill since Sam left. Let's be honest.
Amen.
It's a
Rip Sam.
shadow of its former self.
You know, I actually was gonna ask Sam to come back on the podcast again, just for fun, just as like a guest and some shit. Oh, by the way, we have a couple of people that we may be looking into as like guests, like what mentality for improvement, like healthy.
I don't want to
living
get anyone's
things
hopes up, but Bjergsen has expressed interest, so
Oh, has
just be
he?
prepared for that. Yeah, he
Yeah,
has.
yeah. Don't get anybody's hopes
He
up or
DM'd me
anything
on
with
Twitter.
with your total bullshit. So anyway,
That's why these rap would take so long because I just
derail
sequitur the
them
shit
with
out of
nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that said, guys, we got some cool stuff coming down the pipe. Thank you guys for your support. It really does mean something. It actually helps us produce something better. We're paying our people. I still want to do some of that video editing. You're not getting paid, Brad. No, we're paying the editors and the people that do the boring work.
Oh, that actually do work.
Yeah, not the talking people. The
Oh,
talking
yeah.
people, yes, whatever. Dime a dozen. So, that being said, hell, I'm not getting paid either, man. So it's cool.
Says the guy with the blue Yeti mic.
Well, I did get a nicer mic, but I figure like if you've been on the podcast since episode 1 and you're the only one that's still fucking here, you might deserve a mic. Just throwing it out there. So,
Ernie's still here. He's around. He's gonna be on next week. It's fine.
if Ernie actually came on next week, that would be the shit. I miss that dude.
I think I can make that happen.
We should get Ernie back on the podcast.
He messaged me on League yesterday. There's a chance.
Yeah, let's push that. I'd like to have Ernie back. So, anyway, maybe not like all the time because I don't think he wants to commit to that. Well, no, I don't think he wants to commit to that. That's what I'm saying. Not that I wouldn't have him back all the time. I would love to have my boy Ernie back.
Very occasionally.
Yeah, just seldomly. But no, I'd love to have
Quarterly
Ernie back.
Ernie popping.
And I mean, that shit, and Sam too. That'd be fun. But anyway, that being said, miss those guys, and that'll wrap out the podcast. So, good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right, stop Zencaster.
Did you seriously just chuck a deuce as your sign off?